Welcome everybody to Straight Shooter Wrestling Podcast. I am one half of your co-host Santi alongside Steve. How you doing, Steve?
I am absolutely fantastic, Santi. How's your week been, man?
It's been pretty good. It's Rumble week, and only today am I realizing that this premium live event, because they no longer call them pay-per-views, is on Saturday, not Sunday. So I kind of had a little bit of a panic attack because I didn't know if I made plans on Saturday, but Rumble is on Saturday, folks. This is the start of WrestleMania season, and I'm hyped, man. I am hyped.
I'll tell you right now, Santi, Royal Rumble for me is my favorite live pay-per-view event of the year.
Premium live event.
Premium live event. Sorry, whatever we're getting into here. But no, my favorite premium live event of the year is the Royal Rumble, and I am, I think, overexcited for this one just because of everything that we're about to get into, what has happened over the last couple of weeks on social media. And speaking of social media, before we get into everything else about the Rumble, I want to personally thank, and I believe Santi will as well, everybody who has made our TikTok channel a absolute success.
Gangbusters.
What was a running joke between us two fools that we have been doing for years has now turned into, at this point, before recording, 33,000 followers. You guys are insane, and I personally want to say thank you.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic to see, especially because our Straight Shoot community was fairly small in the Wrestle Chad section of the Discord, which, by the way, we still love the Wrestle Chads, but now we've got 30,000+ Wrestle Chads and over 100 listeners here on YouTube, so thank you very much. All of the links to those social medias, including the TikTok and the other ones that we're launching, our Instagram Reels as well as TikTok, as well as Twitter, will be down in the description of this video. But that is it for house cleaning. Today's episode, we're keeping it simple, no crazy topics. We are not wearing tinfoil hats, actually maybe a little bit of a tinfoil hat depending on where we go with this, but we're not going to have deep existential conversations about the business today. Today is just Royal Rumble predictions. Steve, are you ready?
My dude, I have never been readier for one of our podcasts because I am going out the forbidden door to bring some people in, and I cannot wait.
All right. I mean, I like your optimism. I'm gonna be a little bit more grounded in my predictions. But what I will say, just from the outside looking in, this is the most impressive Royal Rumble card in a very long time. Like, if we just look at the two title matches, and again, we're going to run through each of these individually, but if we look at the two main title matches, Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins, if you told me that those two main events were going to be main event of night 1 and night 2 of WrestleMania, I'd say hell yeah. And we're getting it at the Rumble, baby.
So this all comes to a point where you say, what do they even have planned for us when it comes to WrestleMania? Because if they're going Rumble like this, I'm expecting fireworks. And by the way, it's Seth freaking Rollins.
Apologies. Yeah, I mean, it works for Seth freaking Rollins. Didn't work so much for Keith Bearcat Lee. But I can roll with Seth freaking Rollins. I'm okay with that. But Steve, we are gonna go through match by match. Yep. Once we get into the Rumble section of both the men's and the women's, we are going to do a little bit more than just predict the winner. We're going to predict some additional things, such as if we have any quote unquote forbidden door entrants that we are expecting and or want. But then we're also going to predict things like maybe let's do most eliminations as well as Iron Man and Iron Woman. How does that sound?
I am completely down for that. I can think of a few things on the top of my head already. So let's get her.
All right, fantastic. So for, I guess, disclosure, we are recording this on Wednesday night. That is January 26th. So it's possible that not every single match of the Rumble card has been announced yet. We might get a tag team title match on SmackDown that gets announced. But as of right now, this is the card, Steve. So I'm going to run through it real quick. As I already mentioned, we've got Roman Reigns versus Seth freaking Rollins for the WWE Universal Championship. We've got Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship. We have Edge and Beth Phoenix versus The Miz and Maryse. Becky Lynch and Doudrop for the WWE Raw Women's Championship. And of course, we've got both Rumble matches. But let's start, I guess, from least important to most important. Let's talk about Edge and Beth Phoenix versus The Miz and Maryse. What are you thinking here?
Personally, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this match. The build-up has been basically the comedy fill points of Raw. This brings me back to Miz, Maryse, Cena, Nikki Bella. I wasn't impressed with that story build-up. This should just be a quick squash match. Edge, Beth going to take it over Miz and Maryse. And if it really runs any other way, that's probably going to be my bathroom break match, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I have a hard time calling any Edge match a bathroom break match. But just kind of compared to the rest of the card, I think like if there were to be a bathroom break match, this would be it. Now, that being said, I am also going Edge and Beth Phoenix here. Does this continue a feud for more Edge versus Miz, or are we getting the blow off here?
I think this should be the blow off and the end of it. We all know Edge and Beth Phoenix don't have much left in them, maybe a year or two. I really do think Edge needs a good, solid run by himself without distractions, like he did with Randy. And I feel there's still opportunity for him at Mania. Maybe not in the championship. I think there's way too many other people in the championship run, and we can talk about those later. But I think this is the end of it, and we move into something more. Something that we can get more invested in behind Edge.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm with you. As much as I loved Edge in the championship picture going into WrestleMania last year, Edge is one of those dudes that just does not need to be around the title picture to feel like a big deal, right? So I think you could toss Edge in at WrestleMania with just about anybody after this feud. It doesn't have to be for the title. It's going to be fantastic. I also think that this is going to be the blow off, and hopefully we start to get the build to a bigger feud going into Mania here for Edges, and as well as The Miz, who's done a fantastic job since coming back from Dancing with the Stars. You know me, I'm a big Miz fan. So I would love to see him get, another prominent part of WrestleMania like he did last year with Bad Bunny. But let's move on. Next year, Steve, we've got Becky Lynch going in as the WWE Raw Women's Champion versus Doudrop. What are we thinking?
Okay, you know me. Becky's my girl. Becky has always been my girl since she came up from NXT. Hands down, I'm going, not to take away from Eddie Guerrero, but Becky is going to lie, cheat, and steal her way out of this match and come out victorious. Doudrop, I don't believe, is at that point of championship caliber. They have to work a little bit more on her character development. But the one thing I will say, I was actually gonna go with Doudrop at up until the Ronda Rousey tweet earlier this week, with the potential of Ronda coming back at the Rumble, and then Becky and Ronda picking up where they left off a couple of years ago, and we could really see that at Mania. So I'm saying Becky retains and something happens.
Yeah, I'm thinking Becky retains and nothing happens. I guess is really the only difference. I don't think that if there is a Ronda Rousey surprise or any surprise, it's not going to be saved for after this match. It'll most likely be saved for a Rumble spot. Now, I guess we can talk about this later on, because I am curious, does the Women's Rumble close the show? Because if it does, I think that's a pretty darn good indicator that we're getting Ronda Rousey back. Because when the Women's Rumble closed the show, it closed with Ronda, and it hasn't closed the show since. So something to keep in mind. But I'm going Becky Lynch as well. I don't think that there is a ounce of a reason to think why Doudrop is going to win this year. I think Doudrop could benefit from a few more months of demolishing the women's roster, a la something like a la Umaga in the 2000s. Before we can really consider her in the title picture. She's a fantastic worker, but oh my god, I hate that name. I
hate that name too. They need to give her name back. They need to give her name back.
I hate that name. All right, moving on. And again, these are the only matches that have been announced so far. Again, I am predicting that we're going to have a couple of men's tag title matches announced and maybe a potential women's tag title match announced for a pre-show. We don't know yet. But with that being said, we're really getting into the meat and potatoes of this show. I'll let you pick, Steve. Do we want to start with the WWE Championship or the Universal Championship?
Here's the thing. You know me, I was probably always going to go leave Roman and Seth for last, but I think we have to talk Universal first because we have been waiting years for Brock Bobby. We're getting it, which again is a main event of WrestleMania.
Hell yeah.
And we're getting it at the fucking Rumble. So let's talk Universal. And just remember the one thing, Santi, to add, the Usos are barred from ringside for this match. So we actually get to see a clean, potentially clean, Seth freaking Rollins versus Roman Reigns at peak performance of each of their careers.
Yeah, not just like physical peak, but like the work that they're doing character wise is the best on both ends. This is my favorite Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins to me has never worked as a face. I know that he's kind of playing the face in this feud, but even then, like, he's still a despicable piece of trash, which is great. Yeah. Which is great. He's playing that character so well. And then of course, I don't think that it's a surprise to say that this is Roman Reigns' best work of his life. So yes, we are getting two of the best in the business at their best physically and creatively. My God, this show is money. Is absolute money. Now with the Usos being barred, they're going to show up. They're gonna show up. I'm almost certain. They weren't at ringside during the WrestleMania main event and they still showed up. So I totally expect the Usos to show up in some way, shape, or form. But you know what? I'm just gonna call it. I know a lot of people are calling Rollins. They're trying to predict WWE's hand. And a lot of times that's easy. And I think, you know, from the outside looking in, it might look like this is an easy prediction to call Seth Rollins. I cannot see the tribal chief losing for another year, Steve. Another year. I'm giving Roman Reigns with this title. Give me Roman. Give me Roman. And the reason why I just don't think it makes sense for Roman to lose is, one, they've been hyping up the length of his streak, and two, I just cannot fathom the idea that it would be more entertaining for Reigns to chase the title than for somebody to try and dethrone him. I don't think that his character is built for the chase. I think his character is final boss material. You know what I mean? So I want to see Roman win, and I think that all of these tabloids are setting people up for failure and disappointment with all these predictions of Seth freaking Rollins. I'm going Roman Reigns. Give me the tribal chief, baby. Let's go.
Now, you know, Santi, my opinion on Roman has never changed. Well, it actually has changed. From 2 to 3, 4 or 5 years ago, I was never a Roman guy. I've never been over on Roman. His work and his development and this whole run he has, I will admit I even have his theme song as my ringtone right now. That is how over I am on Roman Reigns right now. But what I will say is this match does not end with Roman getting a pin. This is my call. I say it's either Rollins wins and they go a different route. I'm going completely against what you said. Or it is a DQ and the Usos show up, but it's a DQ with a Rollins win. That is the only way I see this match ending, because both guys are so hot, so good right now. They could make this the teaser for the Mania or a Mania main event, or they go to a triple threat like they have been over the last couple of years. But for me, I'm just gonna squash it right now. I'm gonna say DQ with a Rollins victory.
Interesting. You know what? The Rumble is known for cheesy finishes. I immediately think of 2003 Rumble Triple H, Shawn Michaels last man standing match, where everybody and their mother wanted Shawn Michaels to win to end the Triple H reign of terror. And in classic last man standing match, it ends with neither of them being able to call the count. And then they go on, as you kind of just stated, to triple threat Mania 20 with the eventual Rumble winner that year, Chris Benoit. Sorry, yeah. Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit. So it's possible. It's possible that they may be playing fast and loose and giving us the razzle dazzle, and they do some sort of screwy finish where they don't have to take the title off of Reigns, and then setting us up for a bigger picture at WrestleMania. The Rumble, unfortunately, is known for these types of screwy finishes to set up for bigger feuds going into Mania. So we'll see. I'd rather see a clean tribal chief win. I just want them to continue to build him up as this unstoppable final boss until we can finally have that person that is the one that is the slayer of the beast, right? Not the beast, sorry, the tribal chief. The beast slayer already exists.
There you go.
But yeah, no, that's kind of where I'm at with this match. Anything else to add to this?
No, I'm with you on that, but I can't see them. Thing is, my other final point is Rollins has never gotten his Mania main event. He's got his moment, but he's never had his main event. And Rollins getting kind of knocked down a couple of pegs. I have a feeling this is one of the times that Rollins needs this in his career, and he's at that point creatively. With everything that we mentioned at the start, Rollins, I think, is hot. He's going to be one of the main events at Mania this year, and they can't do him dirty at the Rumble.
I feel you. Let's move on. Steve, this was in your era of wrestling, but sure as shit was mine. This is look, the kids these days do not understand. This is one of probably my most anticipated dream match of all time as a 2000s, early 2000s, mid 2000s wrestling fan. Yep. To set the stage, Brock Lesnar ran rampant up until 2004, left. Bobby Lashley entered in 2005 and ran rampant. We never had these two cross paths. When Bobby was tearing it up in TNA, that's when Lesnar decided to come back to WWE. When Bobby decided to come back to WWE, they, for some reason, always had Lesnar out when Bobby was in the title picture. Finally, the two worlds have finally collided. And mind you, also two very successful, legit MMA fighters in this, okay? Is kind of like my initial reaction. If I have literal goosebumps, I've been waiting for this match for the past 15 years, and it's finally happening. And two things, initial thoughts here. One, I think it's going to be a fantastic meat slapping match. That sounded weird, but it is. And two, I'm disappointed at the build in terms of their lack of use of Paul Heyman and MVP. You've got two of the best mouthpieces in the game. Okay, everyone knows Paul Heyman is the best mouthpiece in the game. And then you have MVP making a run at that, because MVP is fantastic.
Yes.
And we didn't get those two having the war of words. I have a few more opinions on this. Where do you lie on this feud and who's winning?
So I'm gonna build this for you for a second. This is for our people that watch our show, our podcast, and listen to us. This is Hogan Andre. This is Austin Rock. This is freaking John Cena, Triple H, or Batista. Like, this is 15 years in the making of two pure Adonises of the wrestling fight game and true like college wrestling, Olympic wrestling. These guys have it all. Okay. For me, what you just said about the lack of use of Paul Heyman and MVP, I go back to Monday Night Raw this week. Paul Heyman walks out to silence. And the pop was bigger than what Bobby got when his music hit. That just says how they've missed the mark on this. Yes, okay, clearly Brock has created control of his character. We all know that. The free agent thing, cool, awesome. There is no reason that we need cowboy hillbilly Brock Lesnar walking around cracking knock-knock jokes. Just shut the fuck up. Let Bobby stop talking, because honestly, when he grabs the mic, I'm waiting for him to stumble over his words. Just let them both stand there like the statues they are, and let these two men, MVP and Paul Heyman, build this for us. And that's all we need. My outcome on this, simple as that, I'm saying it's going to be a 7 to about 12-minute match of just suplexes, big bumps, spears, and finally Brock with, I'm going to say, 3 F5s.
I got Bobby Lashley. I got Uber Lashley winning this one, my friend. I am going out of left field here because I do believe that we are gonna get Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, so it doesn't make sense for me to pick both of those two winning here. I have Roman Reigns winning, and I have Brock Lesnar, this goofy, fun cowboy. He's the one that's chasing the title. I have Bobby Lashley winning. And, you know, like you said, it doesn't need to be a 25-minute 7-star classic. We know what this match is going to be, and it doesn't have to be anything else but that. I have Bobby Lashley winning just because of the implications of the other matches that are happening here. And I would not be surprised if Brock Lesnar loses to a Roman Reigns interference. A la Brock Lesnar losing the title to Eddie Guerrero to a Goldberg interference that led to Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar. If Lesnar loses, like I'm predicting, it is with an interference from his WrestleMania opponent, is what I'm calling right now.
So then you're saying Lesnar enters the Rumble and wins his spot.
I'd rather it not be that way. The reason I say that, we actually had this conversation offline. Lesnar does not need to win the Rumble to justify him main eventing with Roman Reigns. They already have the story. They didn't have their match at day one. He already has the justification to have a match with Roman Reigns. I personally think that it would be lazy creative to have Roman Reigns or Lesnar win the Rumble. I think that's too obvious. If either of them enter the Rumble because they lost the title, the Rumble is spoiled. They're winning. Unless they both lose, then that would be interesting. And they're both in it. Now I'm giving hire me, WWE, hire me. I'm coming up with these amazing ideas on the spot. But I actually do see one of those two champions losing, and I'm picking Brock Lesnar as the loser and Bobby Lashley carrying the title into WrestleMania.
Yeah, and the only reason I switch on that is because I see Rollins taking the title and going back to Raw.
One of these champions is retaining.
Oh, one champion's retaining, one champion is losing.
So you and I are flipped on who we think is the one retaining. I just think the interference in the Lesnar match makes more sense, vice versa, than the other.
And when we get into it, my build for the men's Rumble, you'll see where my mindset is going into Mania. So, all right, on that note, so you've got Bobby, I've got Brock. Don't forget, guys, leave your comments and your ideas on who's going to win these matches in the comments below. We do read every single comment. All right, women's Rumble match. You said something to me very interesting. Does the women's Rumble start the card? Or finish the card?
Yeah.
Finish the card. Go ahead.
I mean, if it finishes the card, we're getting Rousey. We're getting Rousey. Like that's the biggest reveal of the night, unless we get some crazy Forbidden Door reveal. But here's the thing: anyone that comes from the quote unquote Forbidden Door isn't winning. So because they're not winning, I don't think that it would trump something like a Rousey returning. So that's my prediction. If the Women's Rumble closes, it's because Rousey is in this and is likely winning it. So I mean, yeah, let's talk Women's Rumble again. Let's pretend that we don't know whether it's closing or finishing. Let's start. You know what? Let's start with a fun one. Who do you think comes out number one?
Who comes out number one? I'm gonna say it's either Charlotte, or they're gonna really, and this is my pick for something else down the road. We were gonna say Iron Woman. It's gonna be Bianca. So it's either Charlotte or Bianca. If Bianca starts at number one, number two, she's gonna be my Iron Woman. I think they're building Bianca to be that, next true, I don't want to say China, but like she's
the powerhouse. Yeah, no, I got you.
Yeah. So I think that's how it's going to be. So what about you? What do you got?
I actually had Bianca Belair coming out as number one. We'll see. That is not who I had as my Iron Person. I actually have Zelina Vega as my Iron Person, as just somebody who's just going to be sneaky, hiding under the ring, not getting into any sort of altercations. I'm actually not 100% sure if she's been announced for this.
Yes, she has. I'm looking at right here.
Yeah, I actually think that with her also being one half of the Women's Tag Team Championship, it gives her the ability to be able to have a partner in there. I think that we have Zelina Vega making this long 30+ minute run of her just being sneaky. That's what I'm expecting.
I like it. No, so, and moving into that, what about these surprise entrants that we have? We've got, we've got Lita, we've got Michelle McCool, we've got Kelly, we've got Summer Rae. Unfortunately, we have the Bellas, and we also have Mickie James, who is our first Forbidden Door. And let's leave that one alone for a second. Do we really expect much out of these 6 other entrants that have been announced? Mine is actually, let's take away Lita for a second, because there's a lot of hype around this.
Yeah.
The Bellas, Michelle McCool, Kelly, Summer Rae. What do you think?
I mean, they're there for, I was going to say the pop, but I don't think anyone pops for any of them. Maybe the Bellas, but even then it's like, no. Mickie James, I do think makes a splash at this thing.
Hell yeah.
And who else did you list there? Oh, and Lita. Lita's in this program with Charlotte. We're gonna have a moment where those two stare down each other, and I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah, the worst part, the one thing I'm finding, I don't think we're gonna get much from the Bellas, except for a couple of botches. Michelle McCool, Kelly, Summer Rae. I cannot believe WWE announced her as a legend on the other day. That set the internet on fire. But this thing with Lita, there's been a lot of talk about Lita being a favorite to actually win this and go to Mania and have her like final run against Charlotte. Quick opinion on that. I don't want to drag it out because there's a lot more to talk about, but quick opinion on that.
I don't know. I don't think so. I'm not buying it. I mean, we've seen with NXT that WWE is trying to move towards a younger crop. Now, of course, like they've got plenty of late 30s and early 40s dudes that are just killing it. But I think that would be a bit of a waste. Like Lita's been there, done that. Maybe not necessarily at the Mania level. But I think that there are better names that are suited to win, because my two to win, if Rousey's in this, Rousey's winning.
Yeah.
If Rousey's not in this, who should win is Liv Morgan, is who should win.
Absolutely.
Will they go that route? I sure hope they do.
Yes.
But that is who the people want to win.
Yeah.
Would people be upset if Lita won? No, we're not going to get a 2015 Bautista situation in Philadelphia if Lita wins. If Liv Morgan wins, that place is going to go bananas.
We're looking at a Daniel Bryan situation at that point. I agree with you. If it is not Liv Morgan that wins this Rumble and they go with like an Iron Woman, Charlotte Flair eliminating Liv last, they're gonna riot. Like the crowd will riot. The only other thing, I agree with the Rousey thing, 27, 30th entrant, comes in, tosses out Charlotte, Bianca, Liv. You know, that's gonna just build Becky, Ronda for Mania. My other one, I've got a surprise entrant that I think could be a winner, but I did the math the other day and I don't know if it's possible, but still, you never know. Bayley. Now, normally an ACL takes about 9 months at good, solid recovery. It's only been about 7. I think it was June or July of last year she did the ACL. So I don't know. If she can make it back, I can see it being a Bayley situation. Sasha Banks is technically injured, but there's rumor that Sasha could be ready to go. But if it has to be Liv.
That's who the people want, man. That's what
Liv Morgan.
Yeah, man. Liv Morgan is, like the women's division has been treated very poorly. I'd say since probably SummerSlam, since the return of Becky Lynch and just squashing Bianca Belair, the women's division has been stagnant. And the only thing that's come out that's new and interesting is Liv Morgan. Morgan.
Exactly. But the final thing I'm going to say on this, Santi, and we're going to move into the women's Forbidden Door conversation. We only have, as of right now, 21 entrants. That gives us 9. So let's say we're automatically going to give 4 to NXT?
Potentially, yeah.
Potentially 4. So we're going to look Mandy Rose, and her tag team, and then who else? What's her name? Rochelle Gonzalez.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking at. So now we have 4 or 5 mysterious entrants. Ronda, potentially Bayley, potentially Sasha. There's 2 for the Forbidden Door. Now here's the thing. The Iconics were approached to be in this Rumble. So that says to me there is a potential for 2 others to walk through the Forbidden Door. Got any ideas who they could be?
Yeah, I know that the Iconics were approached, and that actually made me nervous. I love the Iconics, but it makes me nervous in terms of believing that the only people that they are approaching for this quote-unquote Forbidden Door are past WWE people, which really narrows down who it could be. Like, one of the people that I would love is Deonna Purrazzo. Again, she's a former WWE person in terms of being released a few years ago, but she's making a good name for herself in TNA, AAA. It makes sense since they already have that relationship with Impact. But like, she's not really recognized as a former WWE person, and it sounds like I said, that the only people that they're approaching for this women's Rumble is former people in WWE.
Yeah, and I'm on the similar path with that. I don't think we get we're not getting Britt Baker, everybody.
No,
stop talking about it.
Yeah.
Stop. We're not getting Britt Baker, like, ever.
Chelsea Green is an option as well.
Never.
Think so?
I'm after what happened at GCW last weekend, and after what happened with Matt Cardona talking about Paul Heyman, Guys, stop talking about Chelsea Green. Stop talking
But
about
here's
Matt
the
Cardona.
thing. Here's the thing with the Chelsea Green thing, and it just kind of goes to the Mickey James situation where WWE approached her and they didn't even know she was in Impact. They didn't know she was Impact Women's Champion when they approached her. Do you think that they even know what the heck is going on with Chelsea Green? It's very possible they don't if they didn't know that Mickey James was women's champion. Like, I don't know. I mean, I would love to see Chelsea Green. Again, I'm throwing that name out there because it's a former WWE person.
Canadian from Victoria.
So
like, I would love to see it too because I like her work. I think she's great in the ring. She's got no fear. She's been in some hellacious matches. Like I recently over the last year, like crazy. I'm gonna throw two more out there. And you talked about previous WWE. First one is Melina Perez. I think that is a big possibility. She was recently with Impact. I think she still is actually. And she's been doing some great work, still active. So I think Melina. And then I'm gonna say one more from the Forbidden Door, which I don't think I would ever have said unless this whole Mickey James thing came around. But and correct me if I'm wrong, if she's still around, Gail Kim. So you never know.
Yeah.
But I think Gail Kim, with all her negative talk over the last couple of years about WWE, I think that could be a huge like, whoa, what the fuck moment, which could be pretty cool. And then final one, which is a one that's up in the air because nobody really knows if she is or isn't. If she's cleared as well. She's been cleared. What about Paige?
I don't know, dude. But does that even count as Forbidden Door? That's the thing. We're playing.
She doesn't even know if she's still under contract.
That's weird. Yeah, that's not good.
She said it on her Twitch. I don't even know if I'm under contract with them anymore.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, there's so many options where this can go. I think people are going to be sorely disappointed with the Forbidden Door talk. It's great to speculate, but you know, from what we're hearing, they're only approaching former WWE people that have a name and a known reputation in WWE, which I can understand from their point of view. Why risk working with somebody you've never worked with? So I get it from that perspective. But yeah, I don't think we're going to see that much from the women's side. But let's move over to the men's. In the men's Rumble is where things get interesting. For the sake of this video, of this podcast, Steve, let's say that the Rumble winner cannot be a Brock Lesnar or a Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Okay,
because I really hope neither of them are in the Rumble because that's a spoiler. If as soon as they come out, they're winning. We know that. We absolutely know that. So the men's Rumble is where there's a lot of hoopla as to where we can get some special spicy entrants from the Forbidden Door of AEW, New Japan, TNA, AAA. What is going to happen here, Steve? But let's talk about, I guess, the less crazy side of this equation. What do you have coming in at number one? You want to say it at the same time?
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Austin Theory. I'm so dude. It's gonna be Austin Theory. And spoiler alert, that is who I have pegged as the Iron Man of this Rumble. Austin Theory. Kid's great. Honestly, he's prominent on television. Why not? Let's give the kid a shot to see what he can do with a 40+ minute outing out there. What do you think?
Austin Theory, definitely my number one entrant. I'm actually going with Kevin Owens as my Iron Man. And I just think with the new contract and the story that they're building for Owens, kind of piggybacking on Rollins, I see Owens putting in a shift. I'm not saying he's going to win particularly. It all depends on who we're getting as the mysterious entrance. He's definitely up there for me, but I say Owens is going to have a good run. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got on that one for now.
Okay, no, fair enough. I think he is definitely a good bet to potentially win the Rumble. Who do you think will win the Rumble?
Again, can we save that one for the end?
Okay.
Just because it all develops out of the Forbidden Door and who the surprise entrants are.
Okay. So we can talk Forbidden Door now of who
Okay.
the surprise entrants will be. The only I guess Forbidden Door entrant that we have in the men's rumble right now is Johnny Knoxville. Is kind of the closest thing. But hey, don't shake your head at Johnny Knoxville. I'm excited to see this guy get put through a table or something. Okay, it's Jackass. He'll do something. He'll do something. But I mean, in terms of the Forbidden Door, I think that there's a lot of speculation about the likes of Cody Rhodes, Jon Moxley, Chris Jericho as potential former WWE dudes. A lot of hoopla about the likes of Moose, a Matt Cardona, but who is most realistic here?
So again, like I said to you before, Matt Cardona up until 3 weeks ago was in the Rumble for me. He was coming. But after the comments made about Paul Heyman, it kind of makes sense that if somebody knows they're coming, like these people that are going to show up knew for weeks that they were coming. So if Matt Cardona knew he was going to be in the Rumble and then decide to make the comments afterwards, I don't think Matt Cardona is in the Rumble, personally. I that's just me reading between the lines. Moxley, if Moxley isn't in the Rumble, ooh,
too many name drops for him not to be, right?
Too many name drops on Raw, SmackDown. The fact that WWE paid for his rehab, in a way, he owes them one. But again, he is this drifter. Forget Elias. We lost Elias as our drifter. I strongly believe Moxley's in the Rumble. I will be badly disappointed if he's not. Moose, I'm going to say, is a guarantee just because of the promo he cut last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. It's very much a WWE centric promo.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest shoot promos I've ever seen come out of Impact.
Without insulting WWE.
Exactly.
Without insulting the product of in fact, I think he put it over.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he put it over while putting himself over. And the way that that promo was written was very WWE. It was exactly. So I could see Moose being in there. I could see Jericho being in there. We know they already have that relationship. I mean, they've known each other for 25 plus years at this point. And we've had him under AEW contract. I don't remember if he was champion or not, but doing the Broken Skulls podcast immediately after a major pay-per-view. It's very possible that Jericho always has that door open. He's always kept that bridge very, very tight and clean with Vince McMahon and WWE. So I could totally see Jericho making an appearance.
What a pop that would be.
What about the Nightmare Cody Rhodes?
See, again, up until an hour ago, and we are about an hour. Well, about 5 minutes left in Dynamite right now, but that match between him and Sammy Guevara, for one, was insane. I've just seen all the clips, and with Cody now dropping the title and Sammy now being the undisputed title champion, I really believe Cody could make an appearance. He's not my number one to say he's coming, but it's damn possible, man. Like, it's just all this stuff about him being a free agent and all that kind of stuff. It's like, okay, Cody's a possibility, but if Cody shows up, I don't know how long he's going to be in that ring, because I can see after everything he's done to spit on WWE at the start of AEW, before Tony kind of took over and said, okay, let's more focus on our product than everyone else's. I think it's kind of a squash if Cody comes across, even though he's a bigger name. So yeah, that's my opinion on Cody. I have one more, but I want to hear what you think about Cody first.
Yeah, I could see Cody appearing. I don't think that it's a squash because they're literally running the Dusty Rhodes Classic right now over on NXT. That family will forever be linked with this business and Vince McMahon and NXT and WWE. I don't think that it's a squash. I think he gets treated with respect. And I think that, again, assuming he shows up, I think that a squash would also rob us of some pretty unbelievable stare downs that Cody Rhodes could have with imagine a stare down with a John Moxley if they're both in the ring. How wild that would be. that would actually break the universe.
Hey, don't get me started. I'm gonna get excited. Okay, I'm gonna get excited. So I agree.
Yeah, so I think that if we do get Cody Rhodes in this, that we get a really good outing out of him. Actually, I'm pretty sure he is one of the top 10 individuals with the most time in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, he is.
So he's got a history of being an Iron Man in there, but I don't think that any of the Forbidden Door people get an Iron Man 40+ minute performance out there. But we got to talk winners now.
Hold on, no.
You got one more. That's right. You got one more. Who is it?
And we can't disrespect this because the hints have been subtle.
Veer Mahan. I knew it. He's coming. He's coming.
Veer finally made it here. Like, God, like, good for Veer.
If
but they
Veer
say
is in this, he's
coming
winning.
to Raw. Oh God.
If Veer is in this, he's winning. Mark my words.
No. My dark horse for an entrant is Bray Wyatt. The Fiend Bray Wyatt. They have had way too many subtle hints. Granted, I watched this fan creation video on YouTube, which was phenomenal, and it makes you actually think when you go back and look at everything. Where is Bray Wyatt? Where is Wyndham? He's nowhere. But if you watch the subtle hints, especially of the Alexa Bliss first therapy session, there are too many hints of Bray Wyatt there. And this is one thing that WWE does well. They hint. There are so many Easter eggs. And I truly believe if this is where you want to focus your attention, Bray Wyatt is going to be in the Rumble.
Okay, I'm all for it. I wouldn't want a Bray Wyatt to win the Rumble, but I'm all down. I'm all in for a Bray Wyatt appearance in the Rumble. I would love that. I would absolutely love that because you're right. He's nowhere to be seen. He's absolutely nowhere to be seen. Let's talk winners. Who do you want? Who should go first?
You go first because I'm going to drag mine out.
All right. I'm going to go a little bit out of left field. I'm going to go with the workhorse that Vince McMahon likes. Former world champion, proven commodity. It doesn't have a storyline right now that could interfere with this. I'm actually going to pick AJ Styles to win the Royal Rumble.
Great pick.
I think that, there's a lot of buzz and hoopla about Rollins, KO, that storyline, right? But, AJ Styles has been putting in the time, probably doing creative work that he didn't want to do, and he was in there doing it day in, day out, making Omos look great. And just from Vince's track record, if you're able to put your head down and get through a muddy part of your creative career, Vince loves that. If you're able to persevere. So I wouldn't be surprised if after all of these almost year and a half of putting Omos over, and still having fantastic matches with Omos, wherever, only when AJ was actually in the ring, I think that this might be AJ's reward. I think that we get him finally winning the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, and it's one of the things he doesn't have on his list on his career, and it's one of those things he's a Grand Slam champion already, isn't he?
Yep.
So one of the fastest Grand Slam champions, I believe. But I struggle with the AJ winning the Rumble thing because the Austin Theory match this past week on Raw really set it up for obviously Austin to get put into the match first. AJ, I think, comes out middle of the match, and I think Austin eliminates AJ, and then AJ, it starts a feud between the two going into Mania for one of those mid-card matches. which I think that's might be where AJ is in his career. I don't know if he has another title run in him. Personal perspective on it, obviously. You guys can roast me in the comments if you want. I think AJ is a great shout, and it's something he should have on his resume for the end of his career, but I just don't see it being AJ. Mine kind of builds out to, again, who the secret entrants are, because there's really no story for anyone minus Kevin Owens that I'm looking at on this card to be in the main event at Mania. So unless we get a return of Bray, and then we get Bray Roman if Bray wins it at Mania, which I wouldn't be disappointed with that at all. But looking at this now and just looking at who we have announced, the only one that makes sense for me is Kevin Owens. New contract, literally at the start of the year. Already kind of slotted into title pictures. Like, he just had a United States Championship bout on Monday night that ended in DQ, so he's still on a hot streak. And it's got to be KO. It's just the way everything's been built. It's got to be KO for me.
Yeah, the KO win makes sense. And that's the reason why I'm not picking it. Because WWE does not go with things that make sense a lot of the time. The KO win, dude, it makes sense. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get it.
If I don't get it,
I don't think you're going to get it.
Here's the thing. If I don't get KO and we get AJ, I'm not angry.
I'm not angry either. Yeah, other way around, man. Other way around. Like I said, the only thing I don't want is Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns winning the Rumble. They don't need to, let me repeat this again and again. Neither of them need to win the Rumble in order to justify main eventing WrestleMania. Don't waste a Rumble victory on someone that doesn't need the Rumble victory. Okay? Please. Please, please, please. I'm actually somewhat okay with some of the surprise entrants being spoiled ahead of time. I'm fine with that. But don't spoil the result by bringing in Brock Lesnar number 29 or number 30, because then I'll know who wins. I'll know who wins, right? So, I mean, I feel like you and I are somewhat on the same page. Like, if not AJ, I'm great with Owens. If not Owens, you're great with AJ. Man, I really hope that they don't mess this Rumble up, because the card is fantastic, and this could go down as one of the most memorable Rumbles in a very, very long time. A Rumble in front of an audience, right? It's been a while since we've had that. We haven't had the proper countdown and the proper pops. The last Rumble was in the Thunderdome. Let's not forget that. Oh man, please don't mess up this Rumble, please.
Yeah, WWE, I'm begging you, please don't screw this up. And I'm just quickly looking here. The only thing that scares me, Santi, I'm looking at past Rumble winners. Lesnar has won. Roman has won. Nobody's really challenging Austin for his 3. And I almost wonder, is this the momentum with Roman being so dominant, he loses the title at the start of the night and wins the Rumble at the end of the night and puts him up to 2?
That's so lazy. Please, no.
But this is what we expect from WWE. Where has their creative ever not been lazy?
Yeah.
They're giving us a goal. This, for me, is the card we have always wanted for the Rumble. Bangers. Minus, and I hate, like, shitting on Edge, but minus the Edge and Miz tag match. These are bangers. This card is insane. This is night 1 or 2 of Mania.
Yeah.
You know? So, WWE, please don't fuck this up.
I couldn't have said it better myself, but we will wrap it up there, Steve. Make sure to check us out over on TikTok over at Straight Shoot. We also have our Instagram Reels and Twitter up and running. All the links to that will be down in the description below as well. If you want to be part of the Discord community, make sure to come over to the Wrestle Chat section. Steve, where can people find you?
Literally, guys, you can find me at all our straight shoot social medias. I'm heavily active on replying to as many of your comments as I can. There's a lot. Stay with me. Secondly, for myself, twitch.tv/Mr. Tesh and on Twitter /Mr. Tesh. Other than that, Santi, what about you?
Just come over to the Twitch, twitch.tv/Santi Zap. There 6 nights a week, and I'd love to have you over there. But Steve, that's it for us this week. Make sure to be over on the TikTok on Saturday night. We'll be doing a TikTok live reaction of the Royal Rumble. Saturday night, not Sunday night, kids. Don't forget, because I did. Take care, folks.